What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Operation Redwood Podcast. I'm here with my... I'm not even going to edit that out. I'm just going to leave that in there.
This is real.
I'm
This
here
is
with my
real
co-host.
podcasting.
This is real podcasting, guys. Not that highly edited stuff. I'm here with my co-host, Samuel Johnson, and we're going to be talking about becoming a man who stands firm, protecting what matters, and the battles we go through as men. It's interesting because at the same time we're having these podcast episodes, we're also having the similar topic discussions within our Redwood men's group every Wednesday morning. So make sure you hit us up, send me an email, angelo@operationredwood.org. If you're interested in finding more about our online men's group, we meet every Wednesday morning, 6:15 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes.
I had to say that.
Nice
I had
job.
to say that. But this week we're talking about the battle. The battle. Now, Samuel, obviously, you can hear how intelligent this man is. He's also leading our Wednesday men's group calls, and he did a phenomenal job yesterday. To catch these people up real quick, what exactly is the battle, Sam?
I would be happy to do that, but I would like you to do something for our listeners first.
Sure.
Can you remind them, because I think this is our battle as a group. Can you remind the group what our mission is?
So if you guys look at the logo, obviously, if you got on the podcast, if you guys are watching online, or if you're watching through or listening to iTunes or Spotify, it's 3 spears. Stands for restoring manhood, rescuing kids, and rebuilding families or rebuilding family values. I think that at the core of this, it's restoring manhood. We believe that when men are alive, when men are restored, when men are following the blueprint that God called us to be, everything else starts to line up, right? Kids who are trafficked. Our goal is to wake these men up so that we'll start saving more of these kids. Wake these men up so they can step up in their marriage, step up as a leader, step up as a husband, as a father.
So when we restore manhood, families improve and kids' lives change. So
Yes.
So the reason I wanted to highlight that is part of the battle and part of what we were discussing yesterday that's in my mind is you need to know what battle it is you're fighting. And you also need to know that you're in one. So it's very easy in our culture to be lulled to sleep by lots of things. But number one is the little gadget in your pocket. But when you wake up, and I'm going to get a little 2000-ish on you right now. This is the Matrix. When you wake up and you realize that everything you thought was going on isn't going. There is a battle for you to fight, and the world / the enemy wants you anesthetized, wants you numbed, and you can numb yourself out on Instagram videos. You can numb yourself out on booze, on porn, and you can numb yourself out on the Bible. You can numb yourself out on Jesus. You can numb yourself out on Buddha, or yoga. There are a billion ways to not be present. So number one, you've got to realize, you've got to know that you're in a battle. And the enemy, he doesn't have to defeat you. He doesn't have to attack you if you're not a threat. Number two, you have to know what you're fighting for. And that is different for everybody. All right. So one of the things that we were discussing yesterday is where we are attacked. So what that looks like practically is when you say to yourself, why does this always happen to me? Why does X keep happening to me? So why am I always overlooked for a promotion? Why am I never loved? Et cetera, et cetera. Think about the things that you tell yourself. Why does this always keep happening? And that is where the enemy is attacking you and numbs you out so you become ineffective. There is a story there. There is a message. There is something that the Spirit wants you to understand and hear. So when those things happen, practically speaking, the next time you say, why does X keep happening? I would encourage you to ask the spirit or ask God or ask the universe, if that's how you work. Why is this my story? What is it you're attempting to tell me about me through this? And Angelo, you and I have talked that where our battle is the strongest is where we have the most potential for influence, right? Because your muscles are strong there, right? So I'm a runner. I'm very tall. You can't see that sitting down, right? But like and people have said it, I have some powerful thighs. Like now, not like a bicycler, like they have like crazy thighs. That's like, if I wanted to fight, the way I should do that would be through my legs, right? My upper body is not as strong, okay? Because I have been honing that. So wherever it is that you're being attacked, that's the muscle that is getting built. And that's why the enemy wants you anesthetized in that area. If you can see through the matrix that that's what's going on, then you can be effective in that battle. What do you think? I've been
That's
talking a
really,
lot.
really good. No. By all means, I mean, you're making really, really good points. One thing that, we talked over yesterday during the men's group was God is training warriors. And the only way he trains us is to put us into a real fight. And that fight is part of the battle. It's almost scary, right? When you meet someone and life just seems all good, and it's like you just get out of a battle and then now you're in a season of peace. That's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy for you. But 9.5 out of 10 times there's a battle going on. And it's sad when you just don't realize that it's actually going on.
That's right.
And you think everything is all good. Because I've met so many men, and this is actually like the churches, you see this a lot at church with men who make it seem like I've conquered all my battles already. I am good. I'm Brother Holy. Life is perfect.
Good. Love you, brother.
Exactly. That prototype of man, the archetype of man, right? Where it's the Brother Holy.
The khaki pants wearing, right? And I know that's a little offensive to some people. Khaki pants are okay, but like, this,
but
the
it's
khaki
true.
pants and
True.
probably the New Balance tennis shoes.
Very true. This archetype is real. It's a real archetype, but they make it seem like everything's okay, right? Like, how many times when you go to church and say, "Hey, brother, what's going on, man? How are you?" Well, life is good. And it's like, man, they have this, I don't know, lack of self-awareness sometimes, or they're just hiding it.
Right. And I want to thank you for adding that bit right there, because I want to riff off of that. Is we've been taught in Christian circles to hide, like I'm sure you've heard this, like sometimes, not every single church, and I hope that yours is a wonderful one, listeners, but sometimes church can be the fakest hour of the week where you have to put on. And it's unfortunate, because church should be a place where we come to talk about our triumphs in our battles, right? So think about how soldiers fight, and also where is the enemy attacking us, so we can develop some strategies to have a war room, so to speak, and come together. Yeah. And no, I don't think everything is always about spiritual warfare. I'm not seeing a demon around every corner. That's not what I'm saying. But it doesn't benefit us as men to not be real, right? So we've talked about the false self in here, and I think the falsest of false selves shows up in church.
There's this perception that you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
And actually, this is the continuation of the conversation. Like I said, these men's group calls are about 45 minutes, up to an hour or so. And then afterwards, a couple of us will kind of hang out, just kind of chat, and everyone else kind of goes throughout their day, right? That's the point of it. And yesterday we were talking about, there's this thing in Japanese culture called Kintsugi, where they would take a clay pot And usually after it falls and it's been broken, most people just throw it away. But Kintsugi, what they do is they take the pot, they take the pieces, and they take this glue that has like gold specks into it, and they put that pot back together. And they put all the pieces back together. And the whole theory of, and the whole belief, I should say, is that the pot is actually more beautiful now after it's been broken. But the church has this, and I'm not like trying to condemn the church, but this is just something I've seen. Thank God, actually, I believe that the church that we're going to, things are really turning around, and you're starting to really see people are opening up, which is great. And I love seeing that. So I see this shift in culture. But going back to Kintsugi, it's this idea that, right, it's the beauty after brokenness, where most people just want to see that perfect vase. They don't want to see the cracks. They don't want to see the imperfections. But actually, the cracks and imperfections are what makes it unique and what makes it beautiful.
So I want to tell two stories. One's going to be very brief. The other one's a little bit longer, and it's connecting to the battle and expectations. So one thing I want you to think about, listeners, is what do you think about when you see that soldier returning from war, right? Maybe he's got his arm in a sling. Maybe he's got an injury somewhere. What is it you're thinking about him? And that becomes a grand image for all of us. So the longer story, and then remind me to get to the shorter story. It's a song. It'll be quick. But the longer story is this was told by Brene Brown because it happened to her. Usually there are more women that come to her events. There was a man who waited at the end of the line to have his book signed that she wrote. He walks up. His family is around him, a mother and a daughter. They're looking very nervous because they probably know what he's going to say. She's signing the book and he says, "So, you study women, right?" And she went into her spiel about, "Yeah, I study vulnerability in women, blah, blah, blah." And he goes, "You see those two women over there? They would rather I die on my white horse than fall off." And then he walked away. And then Brene Brown said, "That's when I started studying men and vulnerability." Men have the archetype of you are more honored if you die in battle. You are more honored if you are silent in battle. You are more honored. And this gets, and so I know we do have some women listening to this. So if you haven't heard this story about from Brene, I want you to think about how you ask your men to be vulnerable and then beat them up or slap them down when they are. So we have it in our heads. There is no room for vulnerability because we've been scolded and shamed once we do get vulnerable, because this is hyper sexist, but it's true. Women need our strength. And that's what men are made for. Men are made to be strong. And I'm not just talking physically, I'm talking about lots of things. But there are times in the church with a group of trusted battle buddies where you do need to let your guard down, and that is a part of the battle. The second story is this. The second one is very brief. The song has been in my mind a lot recently. It's not the hippest tune, I will tell you that, but it's called, the line is that I don't know the name exactly, but I know Seth Schlater sings in it. It's a duet, and it says, "Flowers grow in the valley." So the song is about, this woman is singing. She's saying, "Why have I been in this crap hole? You know, why am I stuck here?" And the response is, God is talking, and he says, "All this time I've been watering your flowers, and flowers only grow in the valley." So you can't be on the mountaintop all the time. It doesn't serve you. So know that when it's hard, I've talked about this before, God is not attacking you. He is growing your muscles. Let him grow you. And I probably needed to preach that to myself today, by the way. That one's for me.
Especially with how we had our meeting prior to this. I think it's just such a timely thing.
And it's true. So that's why it's been coming up, right? But please remember, if you get nothing out of this podcast today, the only thing that grows on the mountaintop are weeds and scraggly plants and nothing of value. Now, it's important to be on the mountaintop, but nothing is growing.
That's not the growth.
Yeah. You need both.
Phase.
You know, I'm not against mountaintop experiences.
Yeah, no.
But don't run away from the valley.
I mean, we're all climbing something, right? We're all aiming to get to that top. Like that's a goal for most people, until they realize that, like, you get to the top only to realize you're at the bottom of somewhere else. and there's a new thing to climb. And there are, like, God is a God of process, right? And if you think about it, if you started a race here in the starting line, and then the finish line is here, this may be the mountaintop. And I know you guys can't really see this if you're listening, but I got my fist in the air. One's the finish line, one's the starting line. But the real change isn't when you cross the finish line. The change and the process is everything in between. So if you were to skip that whole process and just like teleport from the starting line to the finish line, you'll be the same person as you were at the finish line as you were in the starting line. Same person, no change. But the process in between, the story in between, the highs and lows in between, all that area in between the starting and the finish line, that's when you grow. That's when you experience. That's when you acquire the tools that are necessary for you to finally cross that finish line a different person. But so many people just want to skip that process. They want to go straight from the start all the way to the end and reap all the benefits. But the end is not where it's at.
Doesn't work that way.
No, there's a process to this whole thing, and that is part of the battle. We want to encourage these guys, even you listeners, you may not be part of the Facebook group, or you may not even be on, subscribed or anything, but you just happen to listen to this. We want to challenge you guys to set some better boundaries. What do you need more discipline in? What areas of your life do you need to improve first and foremost? What needs the most focus? I think we could be a lot more intentional about that. That's all I got. You got anything else?
I do not. A lot.
Awesome. I love these shorter, really just straight to the point episodes. I think people are like, oh, some of your episodes are really long. And I'm like, well, that's what a conversation is. We don't set a timer and like peace out. So this little change of pace for people, I think a lot of people are enjoying it because it's just really straight to the point. You can re-listen to it, multiple times a week before next week comes out. But we appreciate you guys. Samuel, thank you for your insights as always. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll see you.